Hey, it's Ryan at the QLZ Green Room. We are hanging out today with Luke and with Jake, guys in Unpeople. You guys over in the UK. Exactly where are you guys at?
We are about 10 minutes out from. Have you flown into the UK before?
I never have. So traveling to Europe. If you, so, I've got. So I'm. My grandparents are Italian.
Oh, you're Italian.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad's side of the family is all Italian. So getting to Europe, especially Italy and England and Germany and all that, it's definitely a bucket list item at some point.
For sure. Um, well, for those of you that have flown into the UK, you've probably either flown into Heathrow, which is what is it? It's west of London.
Yeah.
Heathrow's west of London, and then we're about 10 minutes out from the southern airport called Gatwick, which is like the other main airport if you're flying into London. So yeah, right in the south. It's
not quite London, basically.
Okay,
not quite London.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Welcome to Wrexham because I played soccer in high school.
Oh yeah,
Football in high school. Excuse me, played football in high school. So watching Welcome to Wrexham has helped me out a little bit more with my UK geography.
for sure. Yeah, that's like way west. Yeah, like
Is
you
it?
keep
Okay.
going. Yeah, that's
Right.
like
Wales being
yeah,
way
so
west.
what-
You guys are. So
Yeah, my girlfriend's been loving that series.
is she okay?
Yeah, she's hooked. She's absolutely hooked.
Awesome. Are you guys watching it as well or no?
I've been dipping in and out.
Okay.
Jake's good on guitar, so he doesn't watch things.
Yeah.
Doesn't have time for it.
Yeah, I don't do much of the sports ball stuff.
Okay. It's all right. We're looking to do a potential podcast here on QLZ. Me, one of the other guys. I'm a big sports guy. He likes sports. He doesn't understand them very much. And if we do a podcast, it's probably going to be called Go Sports. Most likely just for him. So
nice and
I'd help on the
broad.
sports ball. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, cool, man. You guys have a new song out. I believe it's your debut radio single. It's called Smother. Awesome track we got. Like I told you guys, we got on New On Q this past Saturday. It's a new music show that our QLZ audience is very familiar with. It's going to be the Artist Spotlight this Friday as well. But before we even dive into the song, you guys, again, I don't ask every band about their band name, but you guys, it's unique, and I've looked it up a little bit, and I really, really like it. Kind of what inspired you guys to name the band Unpeople?
Luke sent me a message that had like 5 or 6 potential band names in there. And 3 of them were an absolute joke and are completely unrepeatable. And one of them was Unpeople. And I actually never heard the word before, but it instantly struck a chord with me. And then I Googled it and thought, hey, some of this ties in thematically with some of the words that I've been writing for this potential new project that we have going on.
Yeah.
And then it just stuck around.
I think as well, it's like we really liked how inclusive it felt. I think there's a lot of people right now that have their own struggles going on, and there's so much discrimination and prejudice that still is in the world. I think it was a great way for us to kind of have a word that could incorporate all of it, and everyone could hopefully feel resonates with them and they could feel part of. And like Jake said, a lot of the way we feel and across the 4 of the members of our band, I think it was just like a nice way to tie it all together, and it felt quite strong to us. And it's funny because we were chatting with them when we were talking about band names. It's kind of like when you're starting a new thing, every band name sounds bad until it's a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you think about like, I don't know, like what's
the Arctic Monkeys?
Yeah, like like the Who. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's like you could imagine before the Who are legends, right? They're one of the greatest rock bands of all time, and it's just like. You could imagine if we chatted, we were like, oh, we should call our band The Who. It's like, oh, it doesn't sound very good. But it's like, I think so many iconic band names are made by the band. So it was actually something I think we wrestled with a little bit, just being like, is this good? Is this good? And then I think Unpeople just popped up, and it was the first one that sort of, we both felt like, no, we think this works.
It was like, I don't hate that. I'm going to sit on it for a little while. And then 2 weeks later, it was still kind of the only viable option in my head. And then I think I told a few close friends and family members, and initially they were all like, okay. And then I'd see them a week later and they'd be like, no, that stuck with me too. So, and then, you start delving into the meaning. And like Luke was saying, it has a lot of connotations that really do resonate with a lot of the stuff that we have been writing about. And it's kind of unintentionally very inclusive. Like, when people do actually look into it, it's it's both colossally depressing, and also kind of makes you feel a little bit better about it because we're kind of all in it together, sort of thing, you know.
And that's the amazing thing about the rock and metal community in general, is that it's for everybody. Like it's not like I mean, you go to a show. I mean, I've been to shows before where seeing Judas Priest, and it's, you know, there's a 70-year-old guy in the audience rocking out, and it's his grandson with them, or you go and it's I just shaved off all my hair. So you would see people now like me. I had like 13 inches of hair and I just chopped it all off. Now you see people like me that have no hair that are there and they look like that they're business people. In the same time, you have people that used to look like me where they had long hair, and everybody kind of gets along. It's kind of one of those wonderful things as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the reasons why me and Jake instantly bonded was our love of AC/DC, who, you know, we consider arguably the best rock band of all time. You know, whether you got that from a song like Smother or not, but
no, did not. No, that's awesome. Though.
I mean, they're a perfect example of just like, look at how they've transcended generations, and like there's still kids that turn up with Angus horns on. If they put on a show tomorrow, like there'd be 5-year-olds to 60-plus-year-olds, you know, at their show, and everyone's there because they love rock music and love how it brings them together. And I think music in general is like that, but I do agree that rock in particular and metal does have that thing that just transcends all the generations, which is super cool.
Yeah, I might be a little biased as being a rock and metal fan since I was like 10 years old. Might be just a little bit biased, but no, I'm glad you guys agree with it. So Smother again, like I said, it's the track that we've got on our new music show. We've got on the artist spotlights. I always kind of leave this open ended. I like to be able to play something back during the morning show about, you know, when we feature the song, what do you want the audience to know about it? It's up to you guys what you want to share about it. You know, how either the song came together, what inspired it. I'll leave it up to you guys. But what would you like people to know about this track?
I think a lot of it we went over it in the press release, but it was at a time of immense seismic change for both of us, and we had like the skeleton of the tune instrumentally down, but we just needed that little spark of inspiration, and it came in the form of, like, you know, just a nice collective friendly breakdown. So
yeah, I think like Jake's really the wordsmith of Unpeople. Like, I'm not, like, lyrics aren't my forte, but this was the one song where when I was laying the structure down, just those words, like the chorus words, just kind of came out because, like Jake said, it was in a crazy time for us where, you know, Jake in his personal life and me just with like music and my relationship with, do I still want to do this, you know, and like feeling so much pressure, you know, to deliver on this next thing that me and Jake do, and kind of, I think, subliminally feeling like there would probably be a lot of expectation off the back of our previous band, which I don't know if you know about, or we've definitely not spoken about yet, but yeah, and I think it's just kind of like having a big emotional outpour in that moment, and then I think Jake came around and I played him the rough structure of that chorus, and I think that sparked Jake to be like, this is me right now as well. And then the rest of the lyrics kind of, you know, Jake pulled together. And so it really was, it's kind of funny in a way that ended up being the first single, because it was arguably the one that came from the darkest place, which I guess is the whole point of, you know, the whole amazing thing about music is it's all about connection. But yeah, it's just, I think it's why we, you know, when this single came out, it was so cathartic and such a huge, like, figurative breath, you know, sigh of relief for us, because Jake figured out when the single dropped, it was literally 2 years to the day that we knew our previous project was going to come to an end, and we'd kind of spoken to each other about, like, well, should we do this? We've always wanted to play guitar together, which we weren't doing previously. Jake's had this front man burning inside of him his whole life, which is now time for him to fulfill that. And yeah, it was crazy, like, just the way it all came about, and then just seeing that people connected with it for those reasons that we wrote it. I mean, somebody got a tattoo in the first 24 hours of it, which is just like, you know, so it's like, as a musician, it's like, we're not asking everyone to get tattoos to prove they like the song, but just like, that was such an amazing gesture of just, they really understood where we were coming from. And I think, I'm speaking for both of us, I think we've probably not had a song that we've put out that's felt so genuinely sincere in the way of people have connected with it, you know.
And a lot of that, I think, came from the initial chorus lyrics that Luke put down that he showed to me over the top of the demo that we've been doing, and that immediately I was like, yep, I can fill in the rest of these gaps. I know exactly where you're coming from. And then hearing it all come together it was pretty special. And also the opening line of the song, "Are you being honest with yourself?" just came from just general questioning myself at the time. And then I remember being like, I think that's quite a cool opening line for, we didn't know it was going to be the first single at that point. And then people immediately latched onto it and was like, oh, what do you know? I was kind of right.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
The self-doubt will always creep in.
For sure, yeah. Because we're sensitive musicians, you know.
Yeah. You know, you gotta wonder what people are gonna say about you. Did you say this is Jake? Is this your first time fronting a band? Is that what you meant to say, Luke? Where he kind of stepped up as a frontman? Okay, awesome. So what's the transition been like for you? Were you always a guitarist, and then, or kind of what's the transition been like for you as a frontman then?
Yeah, I've been a drummer in bands. I've been a bass player in bands. I've been like a lead guitarist in bands, but I've never been the front person, as it were, i.e., you know, not necessarily a focal point, but singing the most, basically. And yeah, I guess part of me had always wanted to explore that. And I hadn't been playing guitar in many bands over the last sort of 10 or so years.
Yeah.
And that's my first instrument. And that's what I basically always wanted to do, was to play guitar in my own project.
Yeah.
And no, it's been a real fun transition though, especially because it's, like we were saying, 2 years since the previous project ended. And I've just basically been working on that, and the shows that we've been playing recently. Yeah, the confidence it's getting there massively, because there's always going to be little doubts knocking around. But no, I'm pleased with the progress so far, and it is thoroughly enjoyable.
No,
he's doing great. He's doing great.
No, I mean, dude, I wouldn't have been able to tell. Like, honestly, watching the music video, listening to the song, I wouldn't have been able to tell that's your first time fronting a band. Obviously, you know, the music industry is, you guys know it much better than I do, but I know it from the outside. You know, from the outside, you know, it's a singles world. Some bands, you know, if you're established, it's still albums, EPs. You guys have mentioned this is the first single. There's obviously other stuff you've worked at as well. So what do you guys want to do with music? I guess either, you know, throughout the end of this year, moving forward, kind of what's the goal? Do you guys want to do an EP, do the singles game, do an album? What's the goal for you guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure what we can and can't say, but they'll 100% be, they'll definitely, I really hope that that's not the last thing that we put out.
Yeah. I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be.
Yes. No, there's more music coming for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. I love what's going on in the background. It's funny because, like, if people listen to so what caught me too is the opening riff of Smother and how bone crunching it is and hits you right in the face. I got to say, the background for you guys, it's just, we've got everything working here. We've got riffs that hit you right in the face, and the background is nice and nice and calm over here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. We like the juxtaposition in this band.
Yeah. Love it. So, question I got for you guys that I ask every single band, every single person that I interview, your favorite no skip albums of all time, favorite complete records from start to finish. You put it on, you're not skipping one song.
Those About to Rock.
Yeah, for Those About to Rock by AC/DC, collective first choice.
Okay. My first, I feel like one of my first albums that changed the way I just heard music was Ironworks by Dillinger Escape Plan.
Okay.
Just because there are a lot of albums before that I think were very important to the way I write songs and kind of the sort of melodies that really, you know, prick my ears up. But Ironworks, I was into Dillinger Escape Plan and Sixth at a similar time. Do you know the band Sixth? They're a UK pioneering metal band. Yeah,
kind of like, I don't know a ton about them. No.
Oh yeah, you should check them out. Like,
okay.
They still, in our collective opinion, they still wrote the best riffs.
Yeah.
Like in the metal sphere. But yeah, so Dillinger Escape Plan were a band where I was probably like 12 or 13 playing in like the local music scene, and you'd have like the older guys that were, you know, like 18, 19, and they'd always be saying, oh yeah, this band Dillinger Escape Plan, this and that. And I was like, oh, I should really check that out. And I remember going into HMV, which is a UK music store.
Okay.
And with like a tenner and just being like, oh, I'm gonna, because we're old enough to remember the days when you did that. When you go in with a £10 note and you try find some music that you wanted to take home with you. And I remember just seeing Dillinger Escape Plan Ironworks and just being like, oh, let's see what happens. I'm going to take this home. And I put it on, and the first track's Fix Your Face. And it's just like 0 to 100. I've never heard anything that like just so unhinged and like erratic. And just, I remember just listening to it and getting to the end and being like, I don't know what I just heard, but I think there's something in this. And then like just sticking with it and doing like 3 or 4 full playthroughs. And then it was like suddenly I could see in color by the end of it. And all this new way of writing music and crafting riffs was just unlocked. So that to me is like a really significant album in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, must have been insane. For me, the first 2 that come to mind in terms of like bona fide non-skippers, there's a British band called Everything Everything, and their 3rd record called Get to Heaven, and it is wall to wall bangers. It's superb. It really is.
It's
I think
amazing.
It came in like 2015, I think.
Okay.
But every single track on that record is absolutely unbelievable. Really diverse. Unreal.
I don't think there's no weak song.
Not at all.
It's unbelievable, that album. Yeah.
Still regularly spin it. And then there's also another British sort of underground rock band, now defunct. They were called Reuben, and their first album is a non-skipper for me as well. And there's 16 songs on it, which is quite mad.
I know you don't get that a ton anymore.
Nah, not really. No. But some of them are short little rages though.
Okay.
Like little palate cleansers. But that's the first 2 albums that popped into my mind.
Awesome. Very cool. Again, man, Smother, it's a song that we have on New on Q Saturday nights. Again, for you guys, it would be very early Sunday morning.
Yes.
Artist Spotlight is this Friday for us here on QLZ, 8:30 in the morning, 2:30 for you guys in the afternoon. Where can people follow you guys? Socials, website. I know you guys just head up on Facebook. Shirts are back in for you guys. So if people want to get merch, or if they want to follow the band along, where can they do that?
Very simple. It's at We Are Unpeople on everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very easy. So cool. Luke, guys, appreciate you taking the time. It's great meeting you. I'm glad you guys were able to do this, and with technology, able to make this work.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Technology's great.